are going to be working on a real simple, cute decor project for fall. It can be just for fall. It could be a little spooky if you wanted it to be, but that is up to you. It's real simple and you need just a few simple supplies. You're gonna need some paper straws. These are kind of fall or Halloween-y colored, but you can do them in any color scheme, of course. But you're gonna need 10 of these paper straws. You're gonna need 3 brown pipe cleaners and 3 green pipe cleaners. These are a little mossy green, but you could use any colored green. You'll need a pencil. You'll need a yarn needle, a little plastic yarn needle, or you could make one out of a paper clip and just, we're not gonna be doing a lot of intricate work, so a paper clip bent with a little eye on the end will absolutely work for that. Also, just a small piece of paper, and we're gonna cut the paper to the length of the straw and then fold it in half and fold it in half again, because we're gonna be cutting the straws, and this is basically going to be your ruler to cut your template to cut the straws on, so you know where to cut each one. And then you're gonna need a pair of scissors. I have a couple different pairs. I find we're gonna be cutting yarn and shaping yarn, and I find these longer handle scissors to be handy for that, but you can also use any size scissors. And then finally, you're gonna need some yarn in orange. We're gonna be making pumpkins, so orange is good, but if you wanna make your pumpkins white or green or speckled, you can do whatever you want, but traditionally, orange pumpkins. So, all right, let's get started. It's gonna be, like I said, real easy and real cute, so let's get started. The first thing we're gonna wanna do is, like I said, get your piece of paper, cut it to the length of the straw, and then fold it in half again. And when you unfold it, mark the folds with a pencil just so you can see it. And so then when you get your 10 straws, I'm gonna mark on the straw where I wanna cut it. I usually do the middle cut first, and then so in half and then in half again. So this is where I like to use my tiny pair of scissors. So in half, hold on to both ends because they will fly off on you. Half, and then in half again. So one thing is when you cut them, it is gonna kind of unround the straw a little bit. You can take your pencil and kind of re-round that straw. So it doesn't need to be perfectly round by any stretch of the imagination, but just so it's easier to pass the yarn through that. So, wow, come here. So you're gonna wanna cut all 10 straws into 4 pieces, basically. If they're even, great. If they're a little uneven, not a big deal. So again, cut all 4 straws into pieces. I'm sorry, all 10 straws into quarters, 4 pieces each. And again, they don't have to be perfectly the same length. It's gonna be a little bit more than that. That's not a full 10 straws, but you're gonna have quite a few of those. Like I said, be careful. They do tend to fly off wherever you don't want them to go. For the pipe cleaners, you're gonna, or Chanel stems, whatever you prefer to call those, you're gonna also cut those in half. You can use regular scissors. If your scissors are precious to you, I would use wire cutters, but these are not fancy scissors, and they cut through the Chanel stems, pipe cutters very easily. So you're gonna wanna cut all of those in half so that you have 6 pieces of each color. You can do that real quick. Just bend them in half, pull it to the center here, or ish. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, and get those cut in half. All right, so a couple more here. And then we'll get to the nitty gritty, and the fun part of the project is making the pumpkin pom-poms. Just get these guys out of the way. Back in their container so they don't go everywhere, all over. All right, so now to make the pom-poms, it's not necessary to make these like the most perfectly neat pom-poms you ever had. They don't have to be perfectly round or super tight. We're making pumpkins, so you just need to kind of get the hint of a pumpkin. So we're gonna wrap the yarn around your hand 100 times. And 100. Okay, 100. So that's gonna look about like that, depending on how big your hand is. Cut off with a little tail, and then cut off just a little bit more. So we're gonna lay this flat, center your little part you wrapped around your hand, and we're gonna do a surgeon's knot on here. So that means we're gonna go under like a regular knot. Ooh, I should cut that a little bit longer, but it doesn't super matter. I'm gonna cut it longer. All right, give us a little bit more to work with. All right, so again, so you center it on your yarn, and then we're gonna do a surgeon's knot. So we're gonna go just under like a regular knot, and then under again. So you've done a double around there. And basically that will hold it a little bit tighter. When you pull it tight, it won't bounce back and come undone. So pull it tight, not so tight as to break the thread, but the yarn. Then do another surgeon's knot on top of that. And that's just under and under again, and then pull it tight. So that knot will not, that knot will not come undone on you, basically. All right, so now we have our little squashed pumpkin here, and we're gonna cut the loops. If you've made pom-poms before, this is pretty common to all pom-pom method making, is cutting the little loops of the yarn to get it all shaggedy. Just make sure and go through and make sure you catch all your loops on the inside and everything. That's gonna wind up looking like this. So you have like a little real fluffy, rough guy. And this is what a part I recommend either doing over a box or over a trash can is a real good idea, because we're gonna cut off all the little bits and pieces, and it does tend to make a mess. So I will hold mine by the two long, no, there we go. Two long pieces, there they are, that you just knotted, and shake them out. And we have this extra long guy from the wrapping, and kind of lay down. So I've decided this is gonna be the top. So I'll flatten out the top a little bit away from where the knotted section is. And so he's gonna have a flat top because he's a pumpkin. And then we're just gonna cut him into a pumpkin shape. So this is where I like to use the longer scissors to kind of give him a nice rough cut. And we're gonna go around and get all the scraggly bits rounded off. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect, so. All right, so we need to make 5 of these. 5 pumpkins are gonna go on our garland. Shake, shake, shake. Let's see. Get him trimmed down to where he's not poking out too much. All right, he's almost there. All right, so I've got him sort of vaguely pumpkin shaped. Let me get a little bit more on top. You could definitely trim your pumpkin for a long time to get it absolutely perfect, exactly how you want it, but at some point you just have to say, it's good enough. Because this pumpkin's not, yeah, this can be definitely a very long process if you let it. Yeah, we're gonna say good enough. All right, so I have a couple here cut out. So I'm using the knot that we made in the top to be the top of the pumpkin, basically. And I kind of like mine flatter, so I kind of just squash them and force them to my will. So the brown is going to be the stem, and then the green is going to be the little curlicues on the pumpkin. So for the stem, I'm gonna fold it in half again. Now the ends kind of sometimes will get a little curled up and pokey, so flatten those out if you want to. I'm gonna take this folded over bit and slide it over underneath the yarn that we tied with. And then I'm going to get it about halfway through and then bend it up on that yarn and twist it together to make it like a gnarly old a gnarly stem for our pumpkin. So just hold on the base and twist it up. Get it all twisted, and then you can bend it a little bit if you want, but there's our little gnarly pumpkin stem. I'll do it on this guy too. So again, fold it in half. Slide under the yarn that we tied it with, about halfway through, and bend them up to meet each other here. Yeah, come on, agree with me. And then just twist, hold at the base and twist. The base of the pipe cleaner and twist, and then you have your little, you can give it a little jaunty bend there. And again, I like to flatten my pumpkin out. I like the top to be flat. So there's that. All right. So we have two pumpkins with their stems. Now for the curly cues, we're gonna take one of the green stems, and we're just gonna slide it under exactly where we slid the one of the green Chanel stems or pipe cleaners, and then slide that underneath where we put the brown pipe cleaner, and kind of, instead of having it in half through there, just the full length of the half pipe cleaner. Ooh, we grabbed some yarn there. That guy can just not be in the pumpkin anymore. These aren't going to be the sturdiest pumpkins. They're not going to be, but they're just hanging on a garland. They don't need to be like the hardiest pumpkins. So now that we have them, that stem all the way through, I'm going to take my pencil and then just curl it around, give it a little springy, viney, a pumpkin vine situation going there. So again, these can be as neat or wild or crazy as you'd like. So there we have our stem and I'm gonna cut this long guy off to meet with the other ones. And that's our finished pumpkin right there. I'll give this guy some curly stems as well, curly vines. Go just underneath the yarn that we tied the stem through. Ooh, keep knocking yarn out of here. That will happen, it will shed a little bit. Pull it up and then curl. Whoop, you don't on him a little bit too hard. Curl it up, and these can be tight if you want them to be like a little spiral, or you can make them loose. It's up to you. It's your pumpkin. You can also just wrap it around your finger if you want to do that. It doesn't have to be pencil sized. All right, I'm gonna cut his little guys off a little bit. Straighten them up, shake them out. That's your they're pumpkins right there. Two little fluffy pumpkins. Again, you can keep working on them if you want them to be, you know, a specific shape, or if you want it to be lopsided or bigger. You can also, if you don't want to wrap it around your hand, you can wrap it around a piece of cardboard to make pom-poms. There's literally so many different ways to make pumpkins, but for this project, just to make it quick and easy using your hand, and then you have like a consistent size with those is really great. So we have our two pumpkins, and the next step is we're gonna start threading them onto our garland. We're gonna have 5 total, so do 5 pumpkins total. So let's start. So you cut 10 straws into 4 pieces, so you're gonna have 40 pieces of straw. You can do them in a pattern. You can use the different, if you have different patterns on you could do, I want it to be spiral, stripe, dot, or you can do colors, but that's really up to you. But honestly, I just prefer to do it kind of mixed together and not have a system. So you're gonna start by threading your yarn onto a needle. And I do that by twisting the yarn a little bit, and that makes it a little bit firm, and it will go through the needle easier. You can actually measure this out beforehand if you like, but it's probably about 7 feet. So I usually just do my arm length plus a little. And so that is close enough for me. So you're gonna have 40 pieces because you cut the 10 straws into 4, but you're only gonna need 36. So you'll have a couple extra, but just start threading them on. So we're gonna do 6 groups of 6. So 36. They did not hire me for my math skills, so I apologize. Okay, so 6 on each one. So that's 6 for our first little batch there. And then we're just gonna skewer this guy on. So just go as much through the center as possible. And that is simply that. That's all, that's as complicated as it gets right there. So we'll do 6 again. And we got 2, 4, 5, and here's 6. All right, so we just keep scooting it down the bit of yarn as we go. And just repeat until you've threaded all 5 of your pumpkins onto your yarn. So I'm gonna do this and I'll show you how to finish it up really quick. Okay, so now pretend we did all 5 pumpkins. Use your imagination. We're gonna get them all close together as we want them, looking how we want. And then on the end, you're gonna take your yarn that's on your needle or your paper clip. Mine came off. You're gonna get to the end and you're gonna rethread that piece of yarn through the last one on your garland. And that is gonna tie it off basically. You may have to scoot it down a little bit to get it. It doesn't have to be perfectly tight by any imagination. But then where you've gone back through the needle, I go and make it just a knot there by going underneath the little loop that you created outside of the straw and up through the other loop that you've created. And that's gonna tie that end off. I'll show you how to do that on the other side now, just so you can see it again. All right. So let's cut this guy a little bit shorter. So again, you're at the end, you've gotten all 5 of your pumpkins on. You're gonna take your yarn, go back through the very end of the last straw. You're gonna go under the loop that you created there and through the loop that you just created, and that will make a knot at the end of it. So that's gonna hold everything on, but you can also use, you know, if you're using a tack or something to hang this on the wall or a nail or whatever, you can use that as a hanging piece. Or you can, I hang mine up with tape. They're very lightweight. So here we have, this is a foreshortened version, but this is a 2-piece one. And you can make these, now I'm saying 5, but you certainly can make them as big as you want. You can make the pom-pom larger. You can use shorter straws. You can really adapt this to what you want, how you want it to look like. You can choose the colors. So it's a very adaptable, really quick, really easy, and it turns out so cute. So let's show you the final results here. All right, so like I said, hanging, I just use a piece of tape or whatever. And then you can just hang these guys up. And pretend this is a beautiful mantle. And there you have, I may work on the little spacing a little bit so they're not right on top of each other. But it's really up to you, however you want to make it look as far as that goes. So there you go. This is the 5-piece one that I've swagged a little bit. But yeah, they're really cute and they're great because they will go through Halloween and fall and Thanksgiving. Like I said, you could change the colors as far as, you know, make it look like a squash if you wanted to instead of a pumpkin. So that's really up to you. And also this could be interpreted as definitely a non-fall thing. So if you did it in spring colors, they could be just little pom-poms and decorative pom-poms. So it's a really cute way to just add a little color to your decor. There you go.